Hello, hello, and welcome back to YouTube. We're going to give people a few minutes to come on for our live on YouTube and Facebook. While we're giving people time to come on, I'm going to go in and try to see if I can start a watch party. So let's do that here. Jamie, if you want to try to do that as well, I don't
Yes.
know. Let's see if we could figure this out. I think we just go to the live and then hit watch party. So I don't know. I'm not seeing it right now. Oh, here it is. I see it. Okay. Watch together with friends or a group of friends. Start. I think I started it. Watch together with friends or a group of friends. Okay, hopefully it's still going while my phone turned off. I don't know how this thing works. Okay, perfect. Yay! So we're gonna have,
Awesome.
we're giving people a little bit of time to come on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, welcome to this YouTube and Facebook Live. I have naturally Jamie here. I'm so excited. In a few minutes, I'm going to have her introduce herself. But as you are coming on, just say hello. Let us know what you're doing to take care of yourself, how you've been taking care of yourself. We want to know. And if you haven't been taking care of yourself and you've just been drinking and smoking, tell us that too. All right. So, welcome, welcome. Hello, Jamie. I'm so excited
Hello.
to have you here.
Likewise, thank you for having me.
Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, so as you all know, my name is Jamie Belton, naturally Jamie B. I am originally from Connecticut. I'm living here in DC. I am a holistic wellness coach. I have been practitioner. Um, I am also birth and postpartum doula, working with families in natural childbirth, be it in the home, the hospital, or a birthing center. I'm also a Thai practitioner, Thai massage practitioner, as well as a level three Reiki practitioner. And I'm also a sister, a daughter, I'm a friend, and I'm also a self healer enthusiast. So I'm very excited to share with each and every one of you some exciting tips that will help you in enhancing your vessel and promoting well being and wellness to each and every one of you. So, yes.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. That's a
Thank
lot. You
you.
do a lot. That's amazing. Um, and this is a great time. I know that we had a couple people waiting for us to start, like waiting in the waiting room before we even got started, before the time. So I'm excited. And
Yes.
Universal Faith said, "Wholeness, family. I'm ready to exhale." Yeah. So I think the thing is right now, we're living in a time where, we're just in apocalypse. I mean, we've had the coronavirus going on,
Absolutely.
um, so many different things, the violence against Black lives. And so people are just really stressed. People have a
Absolutely.
lot of anxiety. People are in fear. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to take care of themselves. And one of the biggest things when the COVID-19 first came up, I was like, look, we need to up our self-care game. Like, we need to be taking care of ourselves. The government is not telling us how to do that. All they're saying is wear masks, social distancing. They're not saying what you need to do to take care of yourself, how to build your immune system, how to strengthen your lungs, things that are so important for us to do. So I'm so excited. And just even beyond that, like self-care for women, self-care for men, just like there's just so many different things. Um, self-care when you're pregnant and you're gonna give birth. I mean, there's just a lot. So there's a lot, and I'm happy to have Jamie to
Yes.
share this information. So before we get into it, I do want to ask you, like, how did you get on this journey? Like, how did you start working with all of these different things, these alternative health regimes that, healthcare systems that you do?
So when I first moved to Maryland about 5 years ago, I was coming from a space of working not 9 to 5, but 9 to 5, 7 to 7. And I realized that my health, when it came to just my eating lifestyle and my activity lifestyle, it wasn't necessarily one that was enhancing my everyday. Um, and when I moved here, I noticed that there was a freedom to really explore different ways of healing. And so I began that journey while working at the hospital still, in Baltimore County. And I came across, different practitioners in the DC community, and, really going into that research, continuing to ask questions that I had, what would help with,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, what would help with, just really balancing the mind, and aligning your body with your spirit. Because the thing is, while we are human beings, we're also spirits. And, there's constantly a battle within
Yes.
ourselves that also manifests in that battle that we have with the external world. And so, um, spirit just led me to different, institutions, different trainers who were able to, hold space for people like me who are really looking to heal oneself, and then being able to share that experience and that healing, those modalities with others. And so here I am, and still on that journey to wellness, still open, and, reaching out to, towards different techniques when it comes to just enhancing my personal life, and then sharing that with my family, my loved ones, and friends.
Hmm. And I think, and that's so important. I think that so many times when we're going on our self-healing journey, we want to like share that with our friends and our family, and that's beautiful.
Absolutely.
And I think the biggest thing is once our family sees us changing, sees us doing better, and see us healing, they're naturally going to want to know too. They're naturally going to be
Absolutely.
like, "Oh wow, she's looking good. She's glowing. She's healthy. What are you doing?" And so
Yes.
it's so beautiful. So
Absolutely.
people, as you're coming on, I see people coming on. Ask any questions that you might have. Anything that you have on how to nurture yourself, how to love yourself, how to take care of yourself. Um, Feel free to ask away. That we're here for you to answer. We kind of have some things we want to talk about, but whatever questions you have, we want to be able to answer that as well. So hello, those who are joining on Facebook and YouTube. Olá, Patrícia. Boa tarde, boa noite, bem-vinda. So, what's one thing that you feel like it's really, really important that you want to be able to share or get across with people? Or one thing that you think, let's start with this kind of the self-care around right now with the
Hmm.
COVID, then we can go into more personalized things for women or for men or whatever. But like what's one thing that you think right now with this COVID that's going on?
Well, right now, with everything that's going on as far as the pandemic, one thing that keeps sticking
That you would
out,
like to share?
yeah, one thing that sticks out with me is, you know, we there's this unknown that's taking place. We're in a space where we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen next week. We don't know how our lives are going to be in the next year or the next 2 years. And so, one thing I will say, just trying to you know, grasp that with the mind, and really trying to make sense of things. The things that you don't know first, just finding that ability to still the mind and accept what is happening, and putting yourself in a position where you're adapting, um, in a way that, you're taking the precautions when it comes to, wearing a mask, practicing social distancing, but really just
Hmm.
inwardly being able to keep yourself in a calm or peaceful state. And that usually that's really just, it starts with your breathing, making sure that you're breathing, checking in with yourself, and then also just making sure that your environment where you are is one that is kept
Mhm.
sacred, and one that is, you know, um, exemplifying peace and safety. Um, when it comes to the fear of any virus, um, it usually comes from our body letting us know that there's different things as far as our immune system that needs assistance. And so now is a great time to get involved with, reaching out to a nutritionist, reaching out to um, just those people in the alternative, um, to find ways to enhance your physical body. And, you know, supplementing is something that most people have been doing. For me, I've been uh, every morning, having that routine of having a sea moss smoothie, which is high in minerals. Um, drinking a lot of water throughout the day, because with our brains constantly going, still trying to navigate in this shift that we've experienced, there's that need for water, there's that need for nutrients. And so giving that back to yourselves is key. And then, of course, vitamin C, we have the sun that's out, and,
Mhm.
all getting yourself out in nature as much as you can, earthing, um, taking
Yes.
those shoes off and really just allowing yourself to receive the energy of the ground to keep yourself anchored in a world that is kind of, out there with the branches, but really just connecting. And then, even having those people that you
Yeah.
feel comfortable speaking with. Yeah, just having the ability to express yourself in those safe spaces. Um, that way,
Mhm.
it's nothing that you're holding on and just processing and keeping in the mind, because then that leads to, things like depression,
Mhm.
anxiety, and making someone lethargic. And so, these are the basics that we can definitely work with, um, that I've been working with, that I've been seeing, and
Yes.
it's been very effective. Um, and then just keeping
Mhm.
myself mindful and connected, aligned with my body. And so it's like, with everything going on, whatever happens,
Yes.
I know that I'm protected. I know that, whatever happens, I'm still here. And so,
Mhm.
yeah.
And I think you kind of touched on Teddy's question. So Teddy said, "How do you cope when you feel as though your environment is going against or slowing down your healing journey?" And I think a lot of the point, from what I could hear, you were kind of going in and out. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. People who are on, can you let us know if you're able to hear both of us? Because it might just be me, or maybe you don't hear me well.
Mm-hmm.
So let us know if you can hear both of us loud and clear, please, so that we can know. You're kind of going in and out a little bit for me. So, and I think that having a routine, like you said, is really important. And that's one of the things that I've, made sure that I've gotten. So, you know,
Yes.
I'm really trying to make sure I'm meditating in the morning when I get up. My biggest challenge is getting off the cell phone, like the social media. But um, I have been doing more movement, more meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I have more of a consistent routine, which is what I didn't have before. So because I was traveling so much,
Right.
but I think also because I was traveling, I was getting like grounded and earthed. I'm earthed. I was earthing a lot because I would be in nature, at the beach, at parks, different things like that. So I think those are really important. And so let me touch on what Teddy says, and then if you want to expand
Yes.
more,
Absolutely.
how do you cope when you feel as though your environment is going against or slowing down your healing journey? Um, oh, good. Both of you are heard clearly on this end. Two people said that they can hear us clearly.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you both, Teddy and Wolji. I hope I pronounced that correctly, um, for responding and let us
Oh,
know that you hear
perfect.
us both. Yay. So for me, one of the things that helped me cope, because yes, it is, sometimes it feels like, oh my God, the environment, everything is going against me. It's slowing down my healing journey. And one of the things that helped me cope is trusting. Is trusting that everything happens as it's supposed to. And quite honestly, everything that happens is to help you on your healing journey. So even though it might feel like a challenge or something that's holding you back, it's about growth and it's about learning. So taking every situation that comes in and saying, okay, how can I learn from this? What is this trying to show me? As opposed to, oh my God, this is holding me back. This is defeating me. I can't. And I know that sometimes it's easy to feel that way because I go through that myself as well. But I keep reminding myself that it's all a part of the journey. It's all a part of the growth. Yeah. So Phil also says your sound is a little low, but can hear clearly. So I don't know if there's any way to turn up the mic at all. But as long as you can hear clearly, then I think that's okay too. But you do sound a little low on my end as well, but I can hear you.
You
So
know what? I'm gonna turn the
sounds better.
sound in the background.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you can hear me. Perfect.
Okay, yeah. But I do hear the sound in the background. So if you want to turn
Yes.
that off,
Yes.
I do hear the sound in the background.
Okay.
All right,
If
so
you
you're gonna go
single
turn that off?
yourself, yes, single yourself,
Okay,
and
cool.
then yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So so hopefully that answers your question, Teddy. That's a big thing that I do. And for me as well, it's really important to be able to make sure that I'm meditating. Um, Other ways that I find myself coping to help me to cope, in addition, is meditation. I'm doing movement. I'm doing like active movement where I'm releasing so I can, make sure that, I'm not holding on these different blockages and these different things within me. Then the other thing that I do is go into nature. So similar to what um, Jamie was saying, how do I do both again now? Going into nature and just really getting grounded and, just making sure that, the more grounding that I do, the more that I'm working on my nature, the more that I open up my trust, the more that I can know that, okay, everything that's happening is happening for the best good. And so one of the things that I've said, which has been crazy, is like, we've all been like, hate Trump, and I hate Trump, and I did not vote for him. But one of the things that I've said in this is that, the good thing that of him being president is that we got to see how overtly racism still is. And so this is just an example that even though things are so difficult, it can be in our highest good. So again, even though I did not vote for him, I'm making that clear, and I think that he's a horrible president, there was some light that came out to allow us to now fight and to, really be like, okay, I'm done. I'm tired of this. This can't go
Mm-hmm.
on anymore. And people are still fighting. So even though it felt like a setback and this is like keeping us down, it's also a way of pushing us to say, listen, the racism is here. The violence against Black people has been there. It was
Right.
happening when Obama was president. It was happening when Clinton was president, when
Right.
Bush was president. But the thing with Trump, because he's just so crazy and out there, and then COVID,
Mm-hmm.
COVID happened. We were cooped up. We were in house, couldn't do anything. And so then when George Floyd happened, everybody was just like, oh, we done. We're done. So
Right.
even though things seem like it's setting us back, it's helping us to learn into, okay, what do I need to do to move to the next step of our journey?
And that is so true. I just
Yeah.
want to
So if you want to add on to
yes,
that.
yes, because the thing is, I yesterday there was an event that took place, and just shedding light on the energetics of everything that's happening in the last back in April. From April to now, we've experienced a few retrogrades happening. We've also experienced a few eclipses happening. We had an eclipse that happened on this last full moon, and this eclipse was another veil. You know, every time there's an eclipse that occurs, especially when it's a lunar eclipse, it's always bringing us to our vulnerability. It's bringing us to some insecurities collectively, and it's also bringing us to it's exposing a lot of weaknesses on a collective scale.
Hmm.
And with that being said, there were so many events strategically that took place up until that point. And this Sunday was actually the ending of Mercury being in retrograde. But Aries was also entering back into home, which is Mars. And this is a time where we've, with the four planets that we also have going into retrograde, Neptune, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, all being in retrograde, but being under the energy of Capricorn, is bringing us into a space of seeing our image, really reflecting on the lessons that we've had in the past and taking those lessons, making them tools and utilizing them in order to execute the action, the task at hand for the next 6 months or however. So everything that's happened has shown us resilience, has shown us, the strength that we always wished we had. When someone says, I wish I was that strong, or I wish I was that smart, I wish I was resilient, or I wish I was that bold, or I wish I had that confidence or that security. All of these events that happened, they were conspired spiritually for us to come to this place of awareness. And now that we know, or we're coming into knowing who we are, now we know the task that we are brought here to do, to truly create that new world, or that life that we've always wished to see. And so this is why, even knowing the purposes that we hold, it's vital, it's essential that we are honing or harnessing that energy that we have, that we're taking proper care of ourselves, sharing that with those that are in our circles and externally, because this isn't a time to be passive and just kind of allow things to happen. But now we're being stimulated enough to actually be active and be those, be those individuals who are truly here to do the work.
Beautiful. Oh my God. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. NC Worker says, thank you, ladies, for your work and wisdom. And I just want to say thank you to NC Worker and Phil in Brazil for coming back to yet another live. Thank you, Deshawn. And so it's great that you brought that wisdom from the astrology, from the planets, and learning, because it's important. I think a lot of us, we don't think about how the planets affect us. We don't realize how that has an effect on what's happening in our lives as well. So thank you so much for that. So
Absolutely.
that's great. And I know that, like, I try to learn a little bit about the planetary, and I had heard about that 5 planets being in retrograde at once, and
Yes.
just a lot of things were happening during that time too, like even with relationships, people struggling.
Yes.
And so you work with Reiki as well, like I do. How do you think, like, in terms of going back to Eddie's question, and then in general, with everything going on right now, like, how do you feel like Reiki could help with that as well, or energy work?
So, when it comes to Reiki, the energy work that it
I don't know if you
contains.
froze.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So Phil says, I am really enjoying the conversation. I have really grown so much during this pandemic. Oh, good. Okay. Now I hear you. Now I hear
Yes.
you. Okay. I didn't hear you at first. Okay. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Continue.
No, so when it comes to Reiki is, it's that ancient
I think there must be a delay.
healing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And so with that being said, we have an energy field, and knowing that we have an energy body as well as the physical body, having Reiki incorporated in your healing or in your therapies, it helps to bring balance to that energetic field, so that when you are going out into the world, it's not about the things that are happening, it's about your reaction or your response. And so being someone who is in that alignment and who's in that full awareness, who, one who has the throat chakra open to be able to speak the truth that one holds, there's that contribution that one brings to the world outside. And so it just gives one also just that balance within themselves so that they're, not waking up feeling that anxiety or feeling the weight and the weight of the world around, and truly just having mental clarity, having, just a better awareness, or a more enhanced awareness rather.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So, mhm. Go ahead.
no, so I was going to say also, it's not something that once you start this healing, it's a one-time thing. It's a daily
Right.
practice. It's energy is always moving. It can never be destroyed. It just takes on new forms. And so with that also, with that knowledge and awareness, it's not something that you just take a little, you take a little bit and then that's it. It's like, you really want to, you want to keep that as your practice, because as you prepare for a test, you're not just preparing for that one day of taking that test. It's a life, it's a lifestyle. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle, and it prepares you.
Yeah.
When I was a little girl, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna, say this really quick, but when I was a little girl, I had dreams of the times that we're in right now. And I remember waking up and crying and telling my mom, Mom, people need to get ready. There's going to be so many things that's going to happen. People are going to be dying. There's going to be these wars. There's going to be this hatred. There's so much
Wow.
hatred. There's so much hurt in the world. And I remember just bawling, just tears. And my mother, she actually brought that to my awareness earlier during this pandemic. And she said, I remember when you were a little girl, you were around 8 or 9. And
Yeah.
she said, I remember you waking up and you were telling me the dreams that you had. And she said, how do you feel during this time? And I said, I feel good. I feel like I was prepared, as a child. And,
Mm-hmm.
looking even now, looking at the collective, we're having more people who are waking up to themselves and seeing
Yes.
what needs to be done in my life in order
Mm-hmm.
to see where I can bring improvement into the world outside. And
Mm-hmm.
it is a practice.
It is. So I want to ask you a question about that. Before I ask the question,
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say, that was beautiful to hear, so with me too, when I was a child, I would have dreams that I just call premonitions. It would, the things that would come to pass. But I think that a lot of people had that. Not
Absolutely.
everyone, not everyone,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of kids were much more connected to the spiritual realm. A lot of kids were more open. Their intuitive were more open. They had more access. And then as we're growing up and then we go to school and all of these different things, we're really taught to like shut that down. And then
Right.
and then we're taught fear to expose that, because then people think you're crazy. Like, what, you had a dream of something that was going to happen 20 years down the road or next week. So those things happen, and it ends up shutting us down.
Right.
So it really is important to be able to be prepared, like you were doing, which was great. And so my question for you is, um what could you say to someone who might be like, I don't have any patience, like, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this every day. I'm supposed to be meditating every day. I'm supposed to be doing Reiki every day or Qigong every day. NC Walker says he practices Qigong. But then
Awesome.
they're impatient. They're impatient and they want results right now.
Mm.
They're like, I'm not feeling anything right now. Like, what tip do you give to kind of help people keep going? You know, or maybe they're doing work with you or someone else. Um, and then they're like, no, I want to change tomorrow.
Right.
Today,
Right.
yesterday,
Right.
yeah.
My own mother actually, she does that where she'll ask if I tell her to take turmeric for reducing inflammation if it's not happening right away. What I will say is, that just comes back into that just goes back into the anxiety, having so much going on and having these expectations. Don't be hard on yourself. Having compassion for everything,
Mhm.
not just yourself, but really for the process that you're enduring. And baby steps, nothing is done overnight. Even bringing us into the world, it didn't happen overnight. It literally took different activities, different events, and not even just with the birthing process, but even the events that took place through, life throughout ages. And so,
Mhm.
really just allowing yourself to embrace the little steps, taking each thing at a time. And if it's not, one day you may feel like you're up to doing something, another day you may feel like that's you're not feeling it, and that's okay.
Mhm.
The thing is, setting your intention is what tends to bring that light, or that life to whatever it is that you're setting yourself to do.
Yeah.
Being intentional is everything. Just being intentional about drinking water every day because you want to
Yeah.
nurture yourself. Water is life, and so knowing that water is life, I want to take in life each and every day.
Yeah.
Um,
I learned a
you
little
know,
technique to do with water where each time when I'm like filling my cup with water, I'm like thanking it. I'm like, "Oh, I'm so grateful to have this connection. I'm so grateful that you heal me,
mhm,
that you're healing my cells, my spirit." And then as I'm drinking it, I'm being very intentional and I'm
absolutely,
thinking about, I might even set an intention for this water. Like you can make it a medicine. And as I'm
absolutely,
drinking it, very intentional. Yeah, I like
absolutely.
that.
And then also, throughout the day, I know when it comes to with us being an energetic, I mean, with us having an energy filled, we have energy emotion, we have our emotions. And so there's different times of the day that you may want to check in with yourself. If you feel different parts of your body feeling certain types of ways, you can address those parts. One thing I will say, if one finds that they're in their mind a lot and there's that tension that they start to feel in this area, you can always do tapping. You could do light, just going in light
Mm.
circular motions, really getting yourself in tune, or activating those energy lines that are throughout your body. And so, just having that's something that just comes up throughout the day. It's not something where every single day I'm going to do this, or every single day I'm going to, do certain, it's when you allow yourself to connect more with your body will speak to you as your friends speak to you, as your family speaks to you. And so the more we align ourselves with our body, we'll start to notice that will be directed into doing things that our body calls for. And, I don't do Qigong every day. I do a lot of yoga. Sometimes even when it comes to the yoga flows, I'll get up and I'll say, yeah, I'll do a yoga flow, but then I might just do sun salutations. And it might just be intuitive or intentionally seven, or depending on what number of the day it is in the month, I'll do according to, that amount of that specific date. And then even when it comes to just having the reiki sessions, making yourselves appointments, I've always desired having massages done at least every day.
So when I come to the DC area, I'm gonna have to give you a massage. I've heard my
Yes,
hands are great.
yes. I look forward to that. Definitely look forward to
Yeah.
that. Um, but even with that, we are not able to, even with the pandemic in the beginning, for the first 2 months or 3 months, we couldn't go anywhere. All the salons were closed or the spas were closed. So a lot of people, when it comes to touch and getting into the muscles and the knots, a lot of people had been collecting, and that anxiety, a lot of the tension was coming into the neck, the
Mhm.
shoulders. There was tension in the lower back because of the lack of alignment when it comes to the spine. And so, you know, having the ability to give yourself the time to, get involved, having a massage at least, once every other week. And if you can't do that, there's self techniques that you can also do. And once again, that's something that is not obligated. You're not obligated to do this every single day, but just as your body, you start to feel you're addressing certain areas. The more you address those little areas, the more that you contribute to the entire body.
Yes. So one of the things that I do teach on my Patreon account, I have self-exploration Sundays every
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, and I do talk, and I have taught on in there and in Patreon how to do like a self massage and like really how to just self-explore and see what feels good to you from doing, from softer touch to faster touch, and just really exploring
Mm-hmm.
different parts of your body and seeing what comes up, seeing how it feels. And I think that's so important because,
Absolutely.
well, one, we are touch deprived right now. So it's
Yes.
horrible. But at the same time, it's good if you can do that self-touch that we're not used to doing. So many times, and that's one of the beauties that I love about Reiki, because when you give yourself, yourself self Reiki healing, you're connecting to yourself, you're touching yourself. And how
Absolutely.
often do we touch ourselves? We almost never touch ourselves unless we're taking a shower or we're going to
Right.
masturbate. And most of the times, for women specifically, it's using a toy. A lot of men, obviously, men aren't going to use toys, even though there's toys that men can use, but majority don't. And a lot of times with women, it's harder for them to masturbate with their hands, so they're using toys. And nothing wrong with that. I love it all. Just touch yourself.
Mhm.
But outside of those things, a lot of times people are not just touching themselves.
Right.
So it's so important to use this time to just really connect with your body, connect with what you're feeling, explore different types of touching. And then, when we get back to being able to go get a massage or connecting with other people, or when you enter a relationship, or if you are in a relationship, then you can actually say what feels good to you, what you'd like. So
Absolutely.
that's really, really important. So we have a question from Divine Roots family. Welcome, Akua. Welcome.
Welcome,
She says,
Akua.
what guidance can you give to You're so cute.
I just love her. I haven't seen her in so long.
So she says, what guidance can you give to someone who wants to start to change their lifestyle mindset? Would you start with spirit, mind, body? What has worked for you? And then she said, what is the body?
I love it. Did you want to answer that first, or did you?
Oh, go
Okay.
ahead. you,
So,
yeah, either way, really. Yeah, go. You want to go 1st? Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So when it comes to changing one or yeah, changing your mindset first, it's one of those things where for me personally, I had a condition. We all have been conditioned. And so with that being said, embracing curiosity. So, asking questions about the life that you've been accustomed to, seeing how that's served you over the years. And if it's something that you're comfortable with, then I need to know what tips you have to be comfortable. But otherwise, if there are some things that you've noticed, there are some deficiencies or just some areas that haven't necessarily been life producing or enhancing to one's well being, then just allowing that space of openness. So being open to different avenues of living a whole life or living life holistically. And so for me, coming from a medical background, being in the hospital, you're used to taking a multivitamin every day, going to a gym, sweating, doing cardio on the treadmill, and later on watching TV for countless hours, watching the news, listening to music that isn't spiritually uplifting, and then talking to people that would then lead you to gossiping or sabotaging or being not without sin to yourself. And so not finding peace with that, I then allowed myself to be open to other avenues. I've always had a curiosity about the spiritual realm, the spiritual world, and truly connecting closer with God through means of meditation, through even just connecting with the temple that we're in, knowing that we're not just limited to, or knowing that I'm not just limited to a human body. That when this human body is sleeping, I'm still present. I'm still awake. And so finding ways to support that living life holistically, I've started to, do research. There's, different communities that one can find themselves connecting with. And it truly just starts with being open. And that's not something that is easy because one has to truly do it. And it's, you might see something that doesn't agree with the conditioning or the agreements that you've made yourself, you've aligned yourself with in the past, but truly, you know, breaking through those obstacles in your mind that kind of keeps you from being able to branch out and find healing in other spaces and find a lifestyle that is accommodating to your destiny. That is something that you can work through. And for me, it took, if I feel like it took a few years, because I was truly born in a certain lifestyle that was not anywhere connected to where I am now. And so it still is an internal battle. I also realized that there's also traumas that came up that I found myself having to work through. So that's another thing. When you are changing your lifestyle, you're changing your mindset, you're also being exposed to different areas of your life that you've carried with over time, being comfortable with that. And so now you're coming into a place where it may be uncomfortable, but it's all necessary when it comes to your growth and development. And so with that being said, would I start with the mind, body, or spirit? For me, it definitely was it was a little bit of the spirit and the mind simultaneously, or the body and spirit rather. The mind, it came after. And the body was simply taking in foods that were supporting, taking out meats and dairy. For me, just knowing also my body type supported that. So I was able to go into that avenue, and also taking in certain herbs to support certain areas of my body. And then getting into not just praying, because praying was my primary, still is my primary way of connecting with the divine, but then incorporating meditation and adding the metaphysical properties of crystals, incorporating that to enhance, my practice. And then also just educating, constantly reading, getting into different studies that are also supporting the lifestyle that I'm going into, aiming for. So yes, and it's been working for me. And, many years later, I can definitely say that it's still working.
Yeah.
And I'm still very open.
And I think that's the thing. I think you always have to be open, right? Because we never know how much more development where else we can lead to.
Absolutely.
For me, like my biggest lifestyle change happened when I left the US, when I moved to Brazil. But and so I say with each person is individual. So you have to, for one person it might be changing their body first, or another
Mm-hmm.
person their mind or their spirit. I have a
Absolutely.
friend who got injured, and because of that injury, she started yoga because that was the only thing that was really good to kind of help her with that specific injury. And then that kind of got her into the whole spiritual life path. So for everyone is different. Me, I kind of started from the spiritual because I had a very anxious personality. And so I was always stressed out, worried, not able to sit down or do anything. And so I was seeking different ways of being able to calm my mind. And so then that's how I started with Reiki. Reiki was about, really giving me a way of being able to relax and calm my mind. Then from there, I started going to Buddhist center. And my intention was never to become Buddhist, but it was because I wanted to learn how to meditate. And I'm like, who
Absolutely.
meditates the best? The Buddhists. So I would still go to church, then I would go to my Buddhist center and meditate. And then eventually, not because they were saying it, they at the Buddhist temple wasn't telling me anything about religion or anything, but more that I started meditating, my truth started coming out for me. And then I began to leave the church. Like a lot of things just didn't make sense to me. And for me personally, my journey, it became more about, okay, getting to know my truth and where that was and what made sense for me. And so through all of that, I ended up, doing Reiki, meditating, and I decided I read a book called Eat, Pray, Love.
Yes.
And because I was working as a psychotherapist, and one of my clients came in and was like, I read this book, Eat, Pray, Love, and this is so me. So, I wanted to understand my client even more. So I was like, let me get this book. And then after getting that book, I was like, I got to do this journey.
Mm.
So I took off for a year, closed down my private practice. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go to India. I stayed in ashrams in India. Then I went to Argentina. Then I traveled South America and then eventually made my way to Brazil and ended up staying and living in Brazil. Loved Brazil. And it was just such a healing place. And because I was here, a couple different things happened while I was here. I was diagnosed with fibroids.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine gave me this book, Sacred Woman by Queen Afua.
Yes.
And I read that book, and then that kind of got me to start doing different things to start healing myself. Because when I went to the doctor here, the doctor was like, you have to have surgery. And I'm like, I barely speak Portuguese. I'm not about to have surgery here. And, and I don't have insurance here. So I didn't have insurance at all. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, let me see what alternative methods I could do before I go under the knife, And so within 3 months of reading Queen Afua's book, like the symptoms of the fibroids went away. And like literally, then I went back to the doctor. She's like, oh yeah, they shrunk. You don't need to go, you don't have to have surgery. So that was a thing that kind of really started me. One, starting to do meditation because of that, I
Right.
had anxiety. Two, because of the fibroids. So then that made me change my diet. And your diet is everything. So that's what made me start eating vegetarian, more vegan, really. And so it was all of those different things. And then just naturally, because of all of these different things, my path just kind of started changing, and I started going deeper into my lifestyle that I have now. That's included doing tantra, doing tantric rituals, tantric meditations, eating. I'm primarily pretty much vegetarian, but I do eat
Mm-hmm.
eggs. But I'm not strict. So every once in a while, I'll eat, meat, but it's rare. So
Right.
you're just kind of taking, you know, roll with the punches. When life gives you lemon, make lemonade.
Absolutely.
So that's how I see it. So Jamie, what's another thing? What's another thing that you would like to share with folks? Like, what's one more thing that you feel like would be good on their self-nurturing journey, their self-care journey, just to just really make our lives better?
Yeah. So right now, we're in the we're in the summertime. I don't know if I don't know what the temperature is in every single person's area that's watching. But right now, being in the summer season, we have the fire element that is prevalent right now. And so, with the fire element, there's a lot of this yang energy that is present. And so, there are different techniques to bring balance to the heart because the heart is what is being impacted by the fire. And the other system that is also impacted, that not only is impacted, but it is represented by fire as well, is the digestive system. And so when it comes to the Qigong, because we're getting back into that, Qigong has been something that it truly brings one's body to into balance. And so talking about the body, we, like I said, we have different types of the body. We have the physical body, as we know, but we also have the energy field, the energetic body. And so being able to hone in on that fire energy in order to bring healing, tonifying our cells, or tonifying our organs on a cellular level, there are different techniques that one can do. First, getting involved with the breathing. I'm going to show you actually while I'm sitting down.
Okay.
But there's Qigong, which is, there's certain types of Qigong that you can do when it comes to bringing that fire into, circulating the body and bringing balance. And the other is tapping. And tapping is known for just really getting into the meridian points of the body and bringing balance when it comes to the mind. And so with the life that's going on outside of us, being able to cultivate that healing energy by way of tapping, this is actually one of the techniques that I've been doing, and really just tapping starting from the forehead. And you're just working your way all the way back to the back of your neck, which is meeting with your brainstem. And this is actually giving homeostasis to your body, just balancing the chi as it's flowing. And these are also acupuncture points. Just going back into traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture works by balancing the flow of the body's vital energy. So being able to give yourself that ability to tap, it's also stimulating your gallbladder, which is also playing a major role when it comes to your digestive system. And then when you're when you're doing your tapping, you also want to make sure that you're taking the time to breathe deeply. So any practice that you do throughout the day, giving yourself that ability to take those deep inhales, you're actually giving your whole body, your entire body, that oxygenated blood that it needs. Because when we are feeling the anxiety, when we are feeling a lot of just energetic activity going on, we tend to shorten our breathing. And when we're shortening our breathing, we're not allowing our digestive system to really work in the way that it needs to. And when you're breathing into your diaphragm, and you're allowing you're allowing your stomach to expand. And on your exhale, you're allowing your stomach to come back in, and you're also compressing your colon. And so that's helping to keep your body flowing, so there's no stagnation. And that will really enhance just your day-to-day life and also promote longevity. So when it comes to Qigong, a few of the exercises that I've actually done, for one, you're standing straight with your feet slightly hip distance apart. And there's a movement where I'm going to show. So I don't know if you can see me. I'm going to stand. You might not see my head, but you'll see my body. And so as you're standing, your knees would be slightly bent, and you're just twisting your body left to right. And as you're twisting your body left to right, your arms are actually tapping on the lower back, and that's actually getting in contact with your kidneys. And so when we think of stress that we're collecting in our bodies, we're actually impacting our kidneys. It's our kidneys that's working. And there are these two little glands that are sitting above each kidney, and that's called the adrenal glands. And every time the adrenal glands are stimulated by any thought, any negative thought, it causes the adrenal glands to produce this chemical called cortisol. And that cortisol, when it's released into your body, it causes your blood pressure to rise. And so to really support that cardiovascular system and keeping the kidneys balanced, you want to make sure that you're allowing the breathing and the movement where you're tapping the kidneys. And that's a really good way to just support that organ in itself, to give us the ability to really feel happy, to choose to feel happy. And then you just feel that energy rising where you're able to do things throughout the day without feeling that lack of, or not feeling like doing anything. You don't have the stagnation in your body. You're able to really flow because the internal body is flowing. So yes, I think there was another question as well.
So, it's so interesting you talk about yeah, it's so interesting you talk about the qigong, because I've been feeling like I need to do qigong.
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
I think that was it. I think it was just a comment. MC Worker said, "LOL, I'm a fire sign. I'm an Aries, sunrises, that is." So it's interesting that you talk about the qigong, because I'm like, I gotta do qigong. I gotta do qigong, and I actually have a book here, but I haven't opened it up and read it yet. But I have done, when I was in Bali and and in Thailand, both places, I did do some qigong. When I was in Thailand, I did a 6-week inner alchemy course, sexual
okay.
alchemy for females, and
Hmm.
qigong. It was the same teacher, because the qigong was like we had to do that first before we could go into the inner sexual alchemy. And then when I was in Bali, I had another teacher um, who taught a little bit of qigong, and so I was like, yeah, I really like it, and I know how that how that helps, how that heals, and things like that.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
um, yeah, but I feel like there's just so much. Like I'm like, okay, I just don't have time to get into qigong yet.
Yes.
But it's interesting when you're talking about like the effects of the kidneys, because I literally just finished doing a sound healing course, tantra course, which I
Hmm.
did bring in the elements of Chinese medicine from Montauk Chia, where we did sound healing to really focus on the different organs, like the kidneys, which is also connected to fear, liver, anger, and and so
Yes.
so we were doing different sounds and movement for each of the organs to really help balance and yeah, balance them. So and
Yes.
heal the organs.
And
So
also,
let me ask you.
yeah.
So, man, like, it was a lot. There was still a lot. So, um, can you give like? Go ahead.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I do want you to be able to give where people can reach you and connect with you. But I do want to say, can you give like maybe like a summary of some of the like maybe 5 main important points? Because we didn't get to a lot. We just had 2. And I know when we talked, there was like a lot of stuff. I was like, oh, that you can share. But we had some questions. So maybe like a quick little 5 things that people can do to really nurture themselves, nurture their bodies, nurture their spiritual health, their physical health, whatever. Like maybe 5 good, nice key points, and then whatever you want to share, and then how people can connect with you.
Yes, absolutely. So just to add on to what you were saying when it came to the representations of the kidneys and the liver, the lungs is what represents that worry as well. So now
Yeah.
going into just what we can do to improve our days, our day-to-day lives, definitely giving yourself 5 minutes a day to breathe. That's the first and foremost thing. Just allowing your body to truly receive the oxygen
Hmm.
that's been blessed to you, because that is your number one nutrient. Oxygen is the nutrient that we all need on a day-to-day basis in order to live this life. And so 5 minutes a day, giving yourself
Hmm.
a movement, be it in a small yoga flow, and that's just stretching your body. That can be just stretching your limbs, that can be lifting your arms, and just really allowing the energy to flow through your body and not keeping it in one space. You know, giving yourself the ability to,
Hmm.
give your, you know, twisting the spine, just really allowing the fluid in your body, because we're 70% water, really allowing that fluid to flow throughout your body. The other thing is getting yourself a lot of sun. Not just going for a quick, 2-minute walk, but really being out there in the sun, allowing the sun to give those rays to you to really stimulate every part of your body on a cellular level. Also giving your skin the detox, because a lot of, skin is our number one defense. And so when in contact with the sun, the skin is able to purge anything that doesn't belong there. And with that being said, being out in the sun, you're also grounding yourself. So finding a space out in nature, going to a forest, going to a creek, being near the water, just allowing your senses to be stimulated. So just hearing the stream of water, hearing the leaves, just hearing the birds, it's connecting yourself. It's transcending any imbalance and bringing it to balance. When it comes to the body, the body is constantly working. So I do recommend that we are getting the sleep that we need, because now we're having these, with most of the people being indoors due to the pandemic, a lot of people, their biological clock, or their clock that we know is kind of off. Some people are not necessarily keeping up with the days. We're forgetting what day of the week it is. And so giving yourself the ability to sleep, sleeping for at least 8 hours. And if you're not able to do the 8 hours, if you need to take a nap throughout the day, give yourself that opportunity to give yourself a nap, because that's what gives your body the time and space for cellular regeneration. Because sleep is not, it's not a chore. Sleep is medicine. And when you're giving yourself that opportunity to be still, that's when your cells are able to regenerate itself. So rest is, a great, self-care tip to enhance our lives. And also to keep our mind
I have been
balanced,
taking
because
naps. I have definitely been doing that.
yeah.
Like sometimes I'll be tired. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take a nap. Like, how often can we do this? I'm gonna take advantage of this time and I'm gonna take a nap.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also when you're getting that nap, it's giving you the ability to build that energy back up, so that you are able to answer Teddy's question, connecting back with the divine. If you're aligning your body, putting it in a space where it's clear, and just taking those steps to having a balanced life, drinking the water, giving yourself the flow or giving yourself a flow daily to really move that energy around your body. And then incorporating Qigong, giving yourself the exposure to the sun. When you go out to nature, you're connecting with God. And so giving yourselves those outlets, journaling, writing things down as you're feeling them, because it's not something that you have to keep in your mind. It's not something that you have to, connect with someone else to, pour all of that you're feeling onto. But it's also an opportunity that you can write, you can allow yourself to release in that way. And that's excessive energy that you're able to allow to go into spaces in an intentional way. And lastly, oh yes, um, increasing your intake of vegetables and fruits, because vegetables and fruits, they're full of water. One, they have so many antioxidant properties, like the berries that we have, pomegranates, raspberries, strawberries, blueberries. Looking for more antioxidants at this time so that we're able to continue to fight off free radicals in our lives. Watermelon is great as a natural diuretic. It's also something that it's full of water. It's also it's life-giving when it comes to the skin. It truly has many properties that one can find that just through research. But just incorporating more fruits and vegetables in your life, and also just finding a space of stillness. Just disconnecting, turning the social media off, turning the news off, turning the music off, unless it's binaural beats or meditative sounds, or even, you know, singing bowls, like really giving yourself the opportunity to disconnect from everything. And even if it's no sound at all,
Yeah.
disconnecting from that sound, because it's resetting yourself. And yeah, you know,
Hmm.
doing those, you know, just on a daily, you'll
Yeah.
notice such a change in your life. You'll feel alive. You'll be present. You'll feel present. And so,
Hmm.
yes.
Yes. And I think it's important, one of the big things as well to connect to your divine self is being gentle, being loving with yourself no matter what. And for me,
Absolutely.
one of the biggest things to connect with my divine self for guidance, meditation. Meditation. And meditation comes in many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be sitting with your eyes closed and, your hands up on your palms like this. You could literally just kind of sit and stare at a flower. Like if you have a rose tree, or if you have a plant or a certain type of flower, just stare at it and just being completely present in that moment with that flower or that image, and just looking at it. If you're cleaning, cleaning with presence, cleaning, you're washing dishes and you're washing it, not thinking about other things, but just being there in that moment.
Yes.
So there's just different ways. Dancing can be a meditation. So you're moving and you're
Yes.
dancing and you're completely in that dance. And those are just ways to help you connect to your divine self as well. When you're feeling disconnected, dance really helps me when I'm feeling disconnected. Sometimes I just put on music, I just close my eyes and I just allow my body to just move how it's naturally going to
Yes.
move, like not worrying about how I look or if I'm dancing really well, and I'm just moving. And then sometimes I'm just moving the hips and I'm allowing the hips to move. And that just really helps me to connect to my body
Mm-hmm.
and just connect and feel
Absolutely.
here and feel present and feel grounded and feel like, okay, I got this, you know?
Absolutely.
So so yeah, so that's a great way. That's a great way. So listen, guys, this has been really good. We could literally keep going for a long
We'll
time.
definitely do more
There's
of
just so much
this.
to talk about. If you have not, we definitely do. We definitely have to. If you have not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel, my YouTube channel. You can find me on YouTube at Prandata Prim or Renee Adolph. I'm on Facebook or Twitter at Renee Adolph as well. Check out my Patreon if you want to continue to support and learn new things on Sundays. I have self-exploration Sundays. I have Monday meditations and tantric Tuesdays. Membership starts at only $5. So join on Instagram. I'm Prandata Prim _Tantra or Sacred Soul Retreat. So naturally, Jamie, do you have anything coming up? How can people connect with you? Do you have any oh, speaking of coming up, real quick, I have the Sacred Kink Retreat coming up this weekend. Because if I don't say it now, I'm gonna forget. So check me out, Sacred Kink Retreat, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to be talking about ways to get your kink on. Sometimes people hear kink and BDSM and they think the far extreme of getting beat and all kinds of stuff and choking. Yes, that's included, but there's milder forms too. So we talk to you about consent, communication, really how, to just really understand what you want, what makes you feel good. We're going to be giving you resources of, you're going to learn the different terminology in the kink world. You're going to learn, we're going to connect you to different communities that you can join if you want to become a part of it and learn different things. And this is just good if you want to explore and learn a little bit more about that. So go to my website,
Ooh.
www.prandataPrim.com, under retreats, and you will see Sacred Kink Retreat for more information. All right. So do you have anything coming up, Jamie?
Yes, well, I'll actually be in Connecticut on this weekend. There's a workshop that's going to be taking place with Love Fed, and Love Fed is an organization in New Haven, Connecticut, where they provide just different resources to really enhance the community by way of urban farming and just having different programs where it's really uplifting the person on a mental, on a physical, and spiritual level. And so I will be in Connecticut this Saturday at 2:30 for an in-person workshop. I'm not sure if it's going to be online, but I am having in the future a few workshops via Zoom So if you are able to follow Love Fed New Haven or Love Fed NH on IG, you can definitely find more information there. And of course, my page, Naturally Jamie B, and that's naturally JAMIE, and then B as in boy. You can find me on Facebook at Jamie Belton. And yeah, and I look forward to, oh, and then also for those who are pregnant or who are expecting, trying to get pregnant, you can always follow my doula page at the period sunflower, and that's SUNFLOWAH as in dog OULA, and that's the sunflower doula. You can follow me for just different tips when it comes to childbirth, when it comes to women's health, and also my practice has actually it's changed a little bit where I'm now bringing in the birthing partners as the facilitator or the partner of the birthing mother, giving them the opportunity to be the facilitators, coaching them one-on-one. And so you can find a lot of tips there as well. So yes.
All right. So I think I'm having internet issues right now. So Tiffany posted, at Love Fed. Thank you, Love Fed.
NHV, yes.
NHV. So the internet is going in and out. Like I can't hear.
Same here.
So,
Same here.
But usually when this happens, I think other people can hear you.
Okay.
So yes. I'm not sure if you finished talking, Jamie. Wait, you look like you just came back. You had went out for a minute. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I just wanted to thank you for this opportunity and just thank you for each and every one of you that has joined in with us. So yes, and I look forward to having more of these sessions and really getting into the movement right now. It's, the moon is kind of coming up, so, or the moon is already up. So of course, having more opportunity where we're doing some movement together. I look forward to having more exchange with you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to having more with you as well. This was really great. Thank you everyone for coming on, who commented, who had questions. Thank you, Tiffany, Teddy, NC Worker, Divine Roots Family, who else? Phil in Brazil, Deshaun Harris, Tiffany Fombi, Wolji Jordan. Thank you guys for coming on, for saying hello. And love you guys. You're my fam. So on Wednesday, we're going to have a continuation. Normally on Wednesdays, I have Facebook Live talking about sexuality, Tantra. I have an amazing sister named Katrina who's coming to us live from Barbados. So join us on Wednesday again at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you so much, Naturally Jamie B. This was great. I loved it. It was wonderful. I love your spirit. I love your energy. You have a beautiful soul. Just you emit peace and grace and happiness and joy. So it was just a blessing to be in your presence. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you guys. Love you all. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell so that you can receive notifications. Oh, thank you. You haven't went out, so I couldn't hear you. So I'm just like talking. All right. So thank you. All right. Well, everyone have a good night and see you guys soon. Tiffany says thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Peace.